Russian President Vladimir Putin has ordered the country's first partial mobilisation of reservists since World War II. He's accusing the West of engaging in nuclear blackmail against Russia.
I
want to remind those who allow themselves such statements about Russia that our country also has a variety of weapons of destruction, and in some areas even more modern than those in NATO countries. And if the territorial integrity of our country is threatened, we will without question use all the means at our disposal to protect Russia and our people. This is not a bluff.
Well, international condemnation has been swift. Germany's Vice-Chancellor among them. He says that Russia's announcement of a partial mobilisation is a bad move.
This is another terrible and wrong step by Russia, which we will of course assess politically and discuss how to respond to it. In any case, for me and the German government, it's clear that we will continue to fully support Ukraine during this difficult time.
According to the Russian Defence Minister, 300,000 reservists will now be called up to fight in Ukraine in what is being seen as a significant escalation. It comes after the Ukrainian counter-offensive in the country forced Russian troops to retreat from some occupied territory. Western nations are also criticising Moscow's plans to hold rapid referendums in parts of Ukraine that are under Russian control. The US, Germany and France are among those saying they would never recognise the results of such ballots. US President Joe Biden and Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky will address world leaders later at the United Nations General Assembly. Earlier, pro-Russian leaders announced referendums in Lugansk, Donetsk, Kherson and Zaporizhia provinces. These areas represent around 15% of Ukrainian territory. The Russian defense minister says more than 5,000 Russian soldiers have been killed since the start of the conflict, but has dismissed claims by Kiev and the West that Russia has suffered heavy losses. According to Shoigu, 90% of wounded Russian soldiers have since returned to the front line. Later, US President Joe Biden will try and rally the world against the Russian invasion of Ukraine in that speech to the United Nations General Assembly in New York. Well, for more on this, Lieutenant Colonel Glenn Grant, who's a defence expert at the Baltic Security Foundation, joins me live now from Kiev. Lieutenant Grant is formerly of the British Army and now a defence and security expert for the Ukrainian Institute for the Future and for the Ukrainian Parliament as well. Lieutenant, thanks for being there. First of all, what is the reaction in Ukraine to this announcement by Vladimir Putin and his defence minister?
I think that depends upon who you're talking to, because obviously many people just mock it. And just say, well, you know, you can do what you like. We're going to face it and carry on. But I think what's happened very much now is that Putin has taken the gloves off on the issue of referenda. He's basically stopped worrying about law, and he's just going to go for creating a wider Russia than it was before, so that he can threaten people with nuclear weapons, because that. Once they're part of Russia, then that allows him inside Russia to use Russian laws to defend them. On the 300,000, well, he hasn't got the officers to train 300,000 people properly, and at the moment, I don't think he's got the equipment for 300,000 anyway. So you're looking at him providing another mass of people who are just going to get killed, and killed probably very quickly. I can't see many of them being very enthusiastic about fighting if they're mobilised.
Do you think the announcement that we've heard from President Putin will affect in any way Ukrainian military plans and the ongoing counter-offensive?
That's a good question, but I don't think so, because it's going to take them quite a while to get 300,000 to the front line, unless they just throw bodies at the front line. So Putin at the moment is going to have to fight with what he's got. And once Ukraine takes back land, there is almost no way, I think, that with mobilized and untrained troops, that he will be able to take land back from the Ukrainians in any shape, unless he just puts all 300,000 in 10 kilometers and pushes them forward. But then that still leaves him weak everywhere else. So I don't think the Ukrainians will change anything that they're doing in terms of fighting.
And all of this, of course, with the United Nations General Assembly underway. We're due to hear from Presidents Biden and Zelensky and UK Prime Minister Liz Truss later today. They will, of course, all reference the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. Do you think these moves by Moscow strengthen Volodymyr Zelensky's hand as he asks international partners for more military support going into next year?
I'm not sure. I think most people already understand that we're in a bad place as far as Putin is concerned. And those people, the countries that have been weak, they may be stiffened. But I don't think that they're going to be stiffened strongly until Putin does something outside of Ukraine. Because we've had plenty of time for countries to be enthusiastic about Ukraine, and they've started getting weaker. I think that will continue, maybe with a short surge for a few months, but then back to normal again.
OK, Lieutenant Grant, thank you. Lieutenant Grant joining me there from Kiev, a defence expert at the Baltic Security Foundation.
Thank you very much.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.